Good morning, everybody. So we are going to spend another day, or just part of today, working on some of those transformations, okay? And then if you look at this particular question, it is asking you to find the equation, okay? I'm on page 44, so we're just going to look at the graphs and we're going to write the equations. Okay, well, so I can see that number 3 is definitely a parabola. So I know that it has an x squared in the equation, but I notice that, let's see where that vertex is. So the vertex moved over to the right 5 units, and then it went up 5 units. Okay, so let's write that equation then. So we're going to write f of x equals, and since it moved to the right 5, that's going to actually be x minus 5. Square that quantity. And then we went up 5, so plus 5. And there's your equation. All right, so now we are going to do the whole page, all of page 44. But unfortunately, the way I have to make a video and the way I have to crop the picture and so on, I end up kind of doing it in columns. It works a little bit better. So I'm going to do one more with you, and then I think I'm just going to let you finish the rest of this page, and then we'll go from there. All right, so let's look at number 5. Well, we got another parabola. Actually, you know what? Let's skip 5. You can do 5. Let's go to 7. Okay, so this time, and the reason why I wanted to do this one opens down. So similar to this, but we're going to have a negative here. Okay? All right, so I'm going to have f of x equals a negative. Now, it doesn't appear as if remember your turning point usually will be here at 0, 0. And all it seems to have done is just drop down. Okay, there's no shift to the left or the right, so I'm not going to have anything in parentheses like I do there. So then that's going to be x squared, again with the negative in front of it because of the flip. And that seems to have dropped down 2, right? So we just write minus 2. Okay? All right, so why don't you pause the video, do the rest of page 44, and then when you are done, turn it on and you can get the rest of the answers. Alrighty, there's your answer to number 5. And here are your answers to the right column. Okay, 4, 6, and 8. Pause if you need to check them out. Please make sure that you're taking notes in your notes packet. Okay, so now that we got that all settled, I would like you to turn to page 46 in your notes packet. This is called piecewise functions. Okay, and it's going to seem a little weird at first, and we're going to spend some time on it. So, if you think you kind of have it, but you're not 100% sure, do not worry. We're going to be doing this for a couple of days. Okay, so we'll be doing it today. We're going to be doing it tomorrow, or actually Monday, and it'll be fun. Now, basically what you have here is you have 2 functions. We've got a parabola, and we have a line. Okay, I want you to just do me a favor, drop your pencil, and just watch, okay? And then you can pick it up and you can take notes. So I'm going to graph x squared, okay? Now, this says when x is less than 0. So basically, you know what I'm going to do actually? I'm going to draw a little sketch at the bottom. That might help. Okay, so if I have x squared, right? And I want when x is less than 0. Now let me just think for a second. Okay, so my parabola will go like this to that turning point, and then it goes up like that, right? Okay, so there's y equals x squared. Well, this domain is telling me I only want to see the portion of this parabola down here when x is less than 0. In other words, when x is negative. So in other words, it only wants to see this portion of the graph. It doesn't want to see that portion. So what I always suggest to kids is if you are not sure how to do this, I would graph this whole thing. And then all you're going to do, so you're going to graph it up here, and then all you're going to do is erase this part. Okay? so if you're, if you're kind of struggling and like, well, how do I do this? So this is what I mean. Okay. So we know that the turning point is here at 0, 0. Okay. And remember a parabola, we have that 1, 4, 9 plus or minus, minus 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. Okay. So I normally would go from here, I would go up 1, I go to the left 1, put a dot, and to the right 1, put a dot. Then I'd go up 4, right 2, left 2, and to the right 2. Okay, so I'm going to do that. All right, so I would go here, and I would go here, and there would be the left-hand side, right? Oops, pretend it goes through that point. And then if I go here and here, there would be the right-hand side. So what I suggest to students who maybe struggle with this a little bit at first is to draw that. And then look at the domain and be like, oh, they only want to see this left portion. So let me take my eraser and erase this. Okay, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Well, maybe I will do it. Let me see if there we go. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Okay, so now I have a piece, thus the word piecewise, I have a piece of this graph, just the left piece. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here, 2x plus 1. And I'm going to just, again, draw a little sketch at the bottom. Okay, and I know 2x plus 1. I'm just going to draw a couple of these little slashy things here. Okay, just so you can kind of get the general gist. And I'll do this in a different color just so you can see it a little bit better. So I know that I'm starting on the y-axis at 1, and then I'm going up 2 over 1. I could go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. There we go. So that would be my line, right? Okay. All right, so now I'm going to look at this domain. And this domain tells me that I want to see anything bigger than 0. So in other words, here's 0. They only want to see this portion of the graph, not this portion. Okay? So again, you can draw this whole thing if you want on this graph, and then all you'll be doing is erasing this piece. Okay? All right, now, one other thing that I actually made a mistake on, and I'm going to show you right now, is, do you see how here it says less than 0? It doesn't include 0. Okay, sorry, so the phone rang, so I'm a little off of where, I'm not really sure where I was, but I think what I was saying was, because this says that x is less than 0, x can't be 0. X can be 0 here, but x can't be 0 here. So what I mean is right here, and I'm going to do this in red, just so you can see it. This is correct. Okay, this should really be an open circle. So right now, that black closed in shaded thing should not be. It should be an open circle. Okay, so now if you want to take a minute and pause me, I really would like it if you could just put this on your paper. Okay, so pause me, do that, and then come back. All right, so then, as I was saying, over here, okay, we only want to see from here on up to the right here, okay? And because this includes 0, I'm going to have a closed circle there at 1. All right, I'm going to do it in red just so that you can see that it's the different graph, but so I'm going to start right here. That's x equals 0. And then I go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, and there is my piecewise function, okay? All right, if you need to pause me, and copy that down. So you can see a piecewise function is just basically 2 graphs on one xy axis, but it's not the full graph. It's a piece of this one and a piece of this one based upon this, what we call domain that's given, okay? All right, so you just did your first piecewise function. How cool is that? All right, so that's number one. Let's move on. We're going to do so let's look at number 3. Woohoo! This one's a fun one. Okay, so let's just look at a couple of things that we got going on here. All right, so I shrunk this down a little bit so I can do a little bit of that sketching. So I'm going to work my way from the top to the bottom. So that first equation that we have up here at the top, right? I'm going to ignore the domain for right now. I'm just going to look at this, and I'm going to graph that. So I know that that's a line, and that's going to be at -1, right? So let me just throw a couple slashies on here. All right, so I'm down at -1, and then it's a negative slope. So I'm going up 2, and then doon to the left 3. Then I could go down 2, and I could go boom, boom, boom to the right 3. So my graph is going to look like that. Okay, and obviously this continues on. All right, so here's the deal. So the deal is they only want to see this portion of the graph, okay, when x is less than -3. Well, all right, I guess I didn't draw the best graph in the world because here's x equals -3. They want this and everything to the left of it, okay? So this point here is, let's just see what I did. I went up 2, so that's really -1, and that is a -3. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm such a ding-dong. Let me try that again. Up 1 and all the way over to the left 3. So I'm going to go on to my actual grid, and I'm going to plot that point. So that's right here, okay? And then I'm going to, from there, I have a slope of -2/3. So from here, I can go up 2, and then to the left 1, 2, and I'm off the grid, but I'm going to put it right here, okay? All right, so up 2 to the left 3 would be like right around there, okay? Now, let me go back a second, because do you see that this domain does not include the -3? So look at what Miss Carter did. I made a mistake. So let me see if I can, I tried doing that before, didn't I? Let me see if I can undo this. Okay, there we go. All right, so where was I again? -3, +1, right? So I'm going to put, oops, my pen on, and there we go. Open circle. Then I'm going to go up 2 and to the left 3, so right about there. And there is that part of the piecewise function, okay? So again, an open circle, because the domain here does not include the -3. Alrighty, so then let's look at this one. So we know that's a parabola. We're shifting to the left 2 and then down 3. So I'm going to do a sketch. All right, so, okay, so now let's look over here. Okay, be careful, there's a comma there. So really all we have for that one is a parabola that's shifted to the left 2. Okay, so that's going to be bang, bang. Okay, now shifted to the left 2. Let's not forget, and I'm just going to do some extra little slashy things. Shifted to the left 2 would put the vertex here. Then remember that from here we go up 1 to the left 1, put a point, and up 1 to the right 1 and put a point. So let me start by doing that. Okay, so I'm going to have -3, +1, and -1, +1. And then from there, I would go up 4 to the left 2 to the right 2. Okay, I'm not going to do that, and there is a reason why, because I know something. We're not going to need to. Okay, and I'll show you why. All right, so there's generally what the parabola looks like, and the reason why we don't need it is look at the domain. They're telling us to start at -3 and include it. So let me find -3. Boom, boom, boom. So start at this point and include it. So I'm going to have a closed-in circle and go all the way over to -1. Well, -1 over to here, but don't have a closed-in circle because there's no equal to. So again, closed-in circle. not closed-in circle. From -3 to -1. So -3 to -1, it's like you're taking a little snapshot of this piece right here. And that's the piece that's going over here. Now, do you notice, though, that this point right here is supposed to be closed in, right? Isn't this point the same as that one? So here's the deal. When you have overlapping points like this one with this one, a closed-in circle overrides an open circle. So even though this is open right now, based upon this domain is going to close that baby in. Okay, so let's close it in. There we go. Then there's the other point. Here's the other point that should be an open circle, right? And boom, boom. Sorry, that's quite a bit of an exaggeration on these two circles, but okay, and here's your parabola. Alrighty, last one then is 2x minus 1. Okay, so I'm going to draw it down here. You can draw it, by the way. If you want to put it on your paper, go ahead and put it on your paper. And then you can erase. I just kind of can't do that when I'm making a video. Normally in class, if I was up on the board, I would be drawing the whole thing and then erasing. Okay? Alrighty, so I've got 2x minus 1, which means I am going to be drawing a couple of these guys so we can get the general gist. 2x minus 1, then I go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, and I could go down 2 to the left 1. And that is what my line looks like. Okay, now let's look at the domain. They only want when x is greater than -1. So in other words, here's -1. They want from this point all the way over to here. So from -1, -3, right here, all the way over. And we're going to have an open circle here because there's no equal to there. Okay? All right, so -1, 1, 2, 3 will be right there. That's an open circle. It's a really bad open circle, but you get the general idea, right? And then we're going to go up 2 over 1. I'm going to do one more. And there is your piecewise function. Okay? All right, turn the page. Okay, how about, let's try this. I would like you to try number 5 and see how it goes. Okay, so pause me now, work on it, and then unpause and see how you did. All right, so I have a parabola shifted to the left 3. But I'm only looking at the x values that are less than -1. So I'm going to be working to the left of -1, right? Because less than -1 means smaller. All right, so I know that my turning point is going to be right here. And I know the 1, 4, 9 method, so I'm going to go up 1 to the left and to the right 1. Okay, and I just want to show you, I'm here at -2. I need to get to -1, right? So I'm going to go one more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from here and I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, left 2, right 2. And that is going to bring me to this -1. Now notice it's not included, so I'm going to have an open circle there. So it's going to look like that. Okay? So your graph should look like that. Okay? Because less than -1, here's -1, and these guys are all less than. Open circle. Now I've got a line here. It's got a y-intercept of -1 and a slope of 1/2. So anything that's greater than 0, there's no equal to. So when I put my y-intercept of -1 there, I am going to do an open circle. Then I'm going up 1, over 2, up 1, over 2, up 1, over 2. Okay. And there's your picture for number 5. All right, go ahead, try number 7, please. So pause the video and go ahead and do number 7. Alrighty, so number 7, we've got another parabola, opens up, shift to the left, right? Now let's just be a little careful here. Our domain does not include the -3, so we're going to have an open circle. And our turning point is going to be at -3. Okay, so when I do this, I am going to put an open circle there. Now, normally I would go up one, to the left one, put a dot, and to the right one and put a dot. But this dot right here is not in that domain. So I'm basically just going to be doing this side of the parabola. Okay, so I'm going to go up one to the left one, then I'm going to go up 4 to the left 2 like that. And I will just have that piece. Now again, if this is a little confusing to you, just hold on a moment. You can do this part right here, okay? And then go ahead and erase this part, okay? So that's an option if that makes it a little bit easier for you. There we go. All right, and then the last one. Oh, I love this one. What in the world is this? This is f of x, aka y, equals -1. So y equals -1, I would hope that you remember. Here's my x-axis. Y equals -1 is just a horizontal line. I'm kind of trying to dot that at -1. But again, be very aware of your domain here. So we're starting and including an x value of -3. And then we're working our way to the right. So this is good. And anything bigger than that. So I'm going to just make that really dark so that you can see it. And there we go. And there is number 7. Okay, so guys, for homework, you're going to be doing page 46 through 47, just the evens.